Hey, you've heard it said, it's not what you know, but who you know. Well, I believe when it comes to selling insurance, it's not what you know or who you know, it's how much you're willing to do.
Look, insurance sucks. I'll just make it suck less.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brad Hannon. You know the drill. We created this channel for agents like yourself to help you polish your skills, make more sales, and ultimately make more money selling insurance. And when it comes to selling insurance, I don't believe it's what you know or who you know, but how much you're willing to do, right? How much are you willing to put in? You know, I just got done training some new agents, and you know, during this training, I stressed the importance of, right? I literally, I'm talking 5 minutes ago, walked out of there, jumped behind the camera to film some content for 2023, and this is the first video we're shooting because I think it's so important that you realize that it's not necessarily your knowledge of product or your network, right? Because I hear these excuses. These are some of the biggest excuses we hear to why agents don't succeed, right? It's like, well, you know, I just don't, you know, I don't have a big network that I can lean on. I don't have a lot of, you know, contacts that pay for their own insurance, or, you know, or I still am learning the products, right? And when I fully learn the products, then I'll really be able to sell. You know, we're here doing some Medicare training for one of my new agencies, and I can tell you that this agency, when we started it, we took 7 or 8 agents that had never sold Medicare, never sold insurance before, period, put them through a 3.5 day training. Really, it's 3 days of training, 1 day of shadowing. So it's safe to say after 3 days and 1 day of shadowing, they did not know it all, right? Did not know it all. We put them on the phones, and because of the, you know, because of the knowledge that they did have, and because of the process that we were putting in place, right? So sometimes it's not necessarily just about, you know, what you know or who you know or how much you're willing to do, but the process in which you're going about it, right? The things in which you're doing to generate that lead, right? Set that appointment, run that appointment, and make sure that you close that sale, right? You've got to have a system in place. If you don't have a system in place, especially for when it comes to a presentation, go check out that video on my presentation. I'll have Eric link it in the bio. But my presentation is very simple, 3 steps, right? So it's not just about how much you know. It's really not at all about how much you know or who you know, but again, about what you're willing to do. So what are you willing to do to make sure that you're in a place for 2023 so that you hit the goals in which you're looking to hit, right? I don't know if it's $1 million for next year or $100,000 for next year for you, but I do know that neither how much you know or who you know will hold you back from it. It's about what you're willing to do to change your situation. You don't have leads, let's get on the phone and start calling, right? Let's find some data somewhere. You know, I can't encourage you to go call out of a phone book because I think that violates some TCPA rules. But I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day. She knew somebody that sold 1 Medicare policy, all of AEP. And I'm talking to her, and she said, you know, why don't you just go to the parking lot and start helping people, like helping seniors with their groceries, ask them if they want to talk Medicare. You're going to accidentally sell more than 1 policy. And I said, well, technically that's not compliant. And she said, yeah, but who cares? What, is she going to lose her license? She sold 1 policy, right? So sometimes you got to weigh it out. Like, you've got to do what you got to do to make sure that you're successful. I'm not saying go lie, cheat, and steal, but you know, I wouldn't worry so much about compliance if you're selling 1 policy. So how much are you willing to do? Look at your activity, right? Going into this new year, beginning this new year, how many calls are you making per day? Right. I remember when I was recruited into the insurance industry, it was very simple to me, right? It was, at least it was portrayed very simple. We now know it's a little bit less simple than that, but make 100 calls a day and you can make 6 figures. I said, well, good. I'm going to make 200 calls a day. So I measured my activity. I didn't measure the result. I didn't make 100 calls and say, well, I only sold 1 today, so the 100 calls thing just doesn't work. I've got to make more. I looked at the activity. Obviously, you measure the result too, but you look at the activity. Did you hit your 100 calls? Okay, great. You knew you put in the reps. It'll come. It'll come. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will come if you're putting in the reps. You know, another situation where someone's doing very, very good with their warm network, right? Their warm market is where 99% of their business is coming from, and then they get on the phone to cold call, or they get on the phone to call leads, and they fumble around on the phone. And so they say, well, you know, I typically do it for like 20 minutes, and I just get frustrated, and I can't do it anymore because, you know, I'm just frustrated. Well, again, it's not about what you know. It's not about who you know, because in this scenario, Okay, the warm market is running dry at this point, right? It's not about, I don't care how many people you know, you're not gonna, well, I guess it could work for some people, but for most people, you're not gonna build a business just off of your warm market, right? You're gonna run out of people at some point in time. And then it's about what you're willing to do. Are you willing to get out and talk to people that you don't know that may need your help? Are you willing to get on the phone and fumble around and fumble around and fumble around until you finally get it, right? Until you finally get some traction, until you finally get some confidence, until you finally find your, your lane, right? Whatever that might be. Are you willing to invest in your business, to pour some gasoline on that fire and to continue to give yourselves opportunities to swing, right? So again, not about what you know, not about who you know, but about what you're willing to do. So the activity that you're doing daily, right? The activity that you're doing outside of work in the same, intro training or intro to the training that we're doing right now. I shared that, guys, we're training from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. today, tomorrow, and Friday. Doing some shadowing next week. We're going to do about 30 hours of training all in all when it's all said and done. That's not where the training stops, right? Brad Lee says training isn't something you did, it's something you do, right? And so you do it on the daily. So are you willing to, outside of your dial times, outside of your presentation times and times you should be selling, are you willing to invest in some time educating yourself, right? So again, this year, just focus. It's not about what you do, not about what you know or who you know. It's about how much you're willing to do. And I can tell you, for me, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to hit my goals in 2023. I hope you are too.
I'm a health insurance hustler. Bradley Hannon's the name. I'm here to teach these agents how to play the game. I'm a health insurance hustler. One thing you should know about me, I'm a health insurance hustler. Brad Hannon.